At 2:17 a.m., the 911 call came in. A car was found abandoned on the side of Highway 74, just outside a quiet town in North Carolina. The engine was still warm. The driver's door was open. The headlights were on, and the radio was playing softly into the empty night. But the driver was gone. Her name was Emily Carter, 26 years old, a nursing student, described by everyone who knew her as careful, responsible, and cautious. She had been driving home from visiting her sister just 30 minutes away. It was a road she had driven 100 times before. When deputies arrived, they found her purse still inside the car. Her phone was on the seat. Her keys were still in the ignition. There were no skid marks, no signs of a crash, no broken glass, and no Emily. What happened on that dark stretch of highway would become one of the most chilling cold cases in the region. Because someone does not simply disappear into thin air, unless someone made them. Earlier that night, Emily had texted her
Perimeter's
mother
clear.
at
Let's check the vehicle.
1:48 a.m.
Copy that. Doors open.
On my
Check it
way.
inside. All right,
See
seal
you
it up.
soon. That was the last message she ever sent. Detective Mark Reynolds, a veteran investigator with over 20 years on the force, was assigned the case the next morning. When he walked the roadside for the first time, he said something felt wrong. It was too clean, he later told reporters. When something violent happens, it leaves chaos. This left silence. The woods surrounding Highway 74 were thick and dark. Pine trees stood close together, blocking moonlight from reaching the ground.
See that? Over there.
Search teams
Yeah,
combed
checking it
through
out.
miles of brush. 9 units traced Emily's scent for nearly half a mile before it abruptly stopped near a shallow ditch. Stopped. As if she had gotten into another vehicle. That detail changed everything. Was she forced in? Did she know the person? Did she stop for someone she trusted? Friends told investigators Emily had recently started dating someone new. A man named Jason Miller, a mechanic from a nearby town. He was quiet, polite, and had no criminal record. But detectives learned something strange. Jason had told friends he and Emily had plans that night. Emily's sister said that wasn't true. Jason claimed he was home alone when Emily vanished. No witnesses could confirm it. His phone records showed minimal activity that night, but nothing placed him at the highway. Detectives searched his home. Nothing suspicious. They searched his truck. Clean. Almost too clean. Meanwhile, rumors spread through the small town. Some believed Emily had run away. Others whispered about a serial predator passing through the region. Social media exploded with theories. But Detective Reynolds focused on the details. The car door was open. The radio was on. The headlights were still shining into the woods. It didn't look like a planned disappearance. It looked interrupted. Days turned into weeks. Volunteers searched fields and rivers. Helicopters scanned remote farmland. Flyers covered grocery stores, gas stations, church bulletin boards. No body. No ransom note. No confirmed sightings. Then, 2 months later, something chilling happened. A truck driver reported seeing a woman matching Emily's description at a rest stop nearly 3 hours away. She appeared disoriented. Alone. He said she looked scared. Security cameras at the rest stop were partially functional. The footage was grainy, but investigators did find a brief clip of a woman walking near the vending machines around 3:11 a.m. The timestamp? The same night Emily disappeared. But the angle was poor, the image unclear. The woman turned slightly toward the camera for less than 2 seconds. And then she walked out of frame. Detective Reynolds stared at that clip for days. Was it Emily? Or was it someone who wanted them to think it was? The FBI became involved. Phone pings were analyzed. Highway cameras were reviewed. Every registered offender within a 100-mile radius was interviewed. Nothing stuck. Jason Miller agreed to a polygraph. The results were labeled inconclusive. He later moved out of state. Years passed. Emily Carter's case went cold, but not forgotten. Detective Reynolds kept the file on his desk. He said something about the case never sat right with him, because people don't vanish without a trace, unless someone planned it perfectly. And then, 9 years later, construction workers digging near that same stretch of Highway 74 uncovered something buried just beneath the soil. something that would reopen the case and change everything investigators thought they knew. The call
Officer,
came in
we need
just
to get
after
this section
sunrise.
cleared.
Construction
Understood.
workers
We're checking for
widening
hazards
Highway
first.
74
Perimeter secure.
had hit something that wasn't rock, wasn't wood, and definitely wasn't trash. The foreman stopped the machines immediately. Within an hour, yellow tape surrounded a section of dirt less than half a mile from where Emily Carter's car had been found 9 years earlier. Detective Mark Reynolds stood at the edge of the excavation site, staring down into the shallow pit. A faded piece of fabric had surfaced first, then a shoe, then something no one wanted to see, but everyone expected. Human remains. The air felt heavy. For nearly a decade, this stretch of highway had held a secret. Now, it was giving it back. The remains were carefully removed and sent for forensic analysis. Dental records confirmed what everyone feared. It was Emily. The town that had once held candlelight vigils now felt that same chill all over again. Only this time, the mystery had shifted. Emily had not vanished into thin air. She had been buried. Close. Too close. Detective Reynolds reopened the case file that had never left his office. He flipped through old photos of the abandoned car, the open door, the warm engine. Now, with the body found nearby, one detail stood out even more. The K-9 scent had stopped near a ditch, right where the remains were discovered. It meant Emily never left the area that night. She never got into another vehicle. Someone had taken her into the woods. Someone who knew the land. Someone who wasn't afraid to stay close. Forensic experts determined that Emily had died from blunt force trauma. No weapon was found at the scene. There were no clear signs of struggle preserved after all those years, but one small detail survived. A fragment of blue industrial tape was found tangled in the fabric of her clothing. It wasn't common duct tape. It was a specific brand used mostly in auto repair shops and warehouses. Detective Reynolds didn't need to be reminded where Jason Miller worked. Jason had been a mechanic. The investigation shifted quickly. Jason, now living in Ohio under a different job, was brought in for questioning again. He looked older, thinner, nervous in a way he hadn't been before. When detectives asked about the tape, he shrugged. "That stuff is everywhere," he said. "You can buy it anywhere." Technically, he was right, but records showed something interesting. The brand of tape recovered had been sold in bulk to only 3 businesses within 50 miles at the time of Emily's disappearance. One of them was the garage where Jason worked. Detective Reynolds pressed harder. "Why did you tell friends you had plans with Emily that night?" Jason hesitated. "I thought we might meet up," he replied. It wasn't set in stone. But phone records from 9 years ago, reanalyzed with newer technology, revealed something new. Jason's phone had pinged a tower less than 2 miles from Highway 74 at 1:52 a.m. For minutes after Emily's final text, Jason had claimed he was home. Reynolds watched him carefully. The calm mechanic from years ago seemed to crack just slightly under the weight of the new evidence. Still, there was no confession, and no direct proof placing him at the burial site. Meanwhile, investigators re-examined the rest stop footage from the night of Emily's disappearance. Using modern enhancement software, analysts cleaned up the grainy image. The woman seen walking near the vending machines was not Emily. The facial structure didn't match. The height was slightly different. It had been a false lead all along, which meant Emily had never left that highway. She had never been alive after her car was found. The rest stop sighting had only bought the killer time. The deeper detectives dug, the stranger things became. Old case notes revealed that Jason had once taken a hunting trip in the woods behind Highway 74 years before he met Emily. He knew the terrain. He knew the shortcuts. He knew how dark it got out there. And most importantly, he knew how isolated it was. Detective Reynolds requested a search warrant for Jason's old truck records. The vehicle had been sold years ago, but archived service logs revealed something unusual. The truck's interior carpet had been replaced 2 weeks after Emily vanished. Jason claimed it was due to water damage, but no insurance claim had ever been filed. As the pressure mounted, Jason's alibi continued to shift in small, subtle ways. First, he said he had been home alone all night. Then he admitted he might have stepped out for a drive. Then he said he couldn't remember. The cracks were growing. Still, without DNA tying him directly to the burial site, prosecutors hesitated. And then something unexpected happened. A woman came forward. Her name was Rachel Thompson, and she had dated Jason briefly 2 years after Emily disappeared. She told investigators that during an argument one night, Jason had said something she never forgot. "You think I'm capable of something bad?" he had snapped at her. "You have no idea what I've already gotten away with."
All right,
At
stay
the
close
time,
and keep your lights on the
She thought
ground.
it was just
Got
anger.
it. Let's move.
Now, with Emily's remains found and the tape linked to his workplace, it felt like something more. Detective Reynolds looked at the case board in his office, now filled with fresh photos and new timelines. After 9 years of silence, the case was breathing again. But breathing didn't mean solved, because Jason Miller still wasn't in custody. And the night detectives prepared to bring him in for a second full interrogation, they arrived at his Ohio apartment to find the door slightly open. The lights were on, his car was gone, and on the kitchen table sat a single folded piece of paper, with one sentence written across it. "You were looking in the wrong place." Detective Mark Reynolds stood in Jason Miller's empty apartment, staring at the note on the kitchen table. "You were looking in the wrong place." The words were written in black ink, calm and steady, not rushed, not panicked. Jason hadn't fled in fear. He had left on purpose. Reynolds felt a familiar weight in his chest. After 9 long years, they had finally found Emily Carter. They had finally built pressure around the one man who never quite fit. And now, just when the walls were closing in, he was gone. An alert went out immediately. Jason's vehicle description was broadcast across state lines. Airports were notified. Credit cards were flagged. His phone, however, had been left behind on the apartment counter, powered off. It was a clean break, but not perfect. Forensics dusted the note for prints. It matched Jason. No surprise there. What caught investigators' attention was something else. A second, partial print was lifted from the edge of the paper. It didn't match Jason, and it didn't match anyone in the original case file. Reynolds ordered a full re-examination of everything connected to Emily's disappearance. Every interview, every overlooked detail, every name that had once seemed minor. They returned to the garage where Jason had worked years ago. Most of the staff had changed, but one former employee still lived nearby, Caleb Morris, a quiet man who had worked late shifts with Jason back in 2014. When detectives questioned Caleb, he appeared nervous. He admitted something small but important. On the night Emily disappeared, Jason had asked to borrow his truck for a quick errand. Caleb agreed. He said Jason returned it before dawn. That detail had never been mentioned before. Caleb's truck had been sold years ago, but records showed something strange. The passenger side seat had been replaced shortly after that week. Caleb claimed it was torn. There had been no repair invoice. Reynolds felt the pieces shift. Jason may not have acted alone. A joint arrest warrant was prepared for both men. But before they could move, Jason's abandoned car was found near a remote boat dock in West Virginia. The driver's seat was empty. The keys were inside. No signs of struggle. No body. Once again, someone had vanished. Only this time, it wasn't Emily. It was the man who might have taken her. And as divers searched the river below, Detective Reynolds couldn't shake the feeling that Jason's final message wasn't about a location. It was about a person. They hadn't been looking in the wrong place. They had been looking at the wrong suspect. And the real answer might still be walking free.